So recently I've had a problem with my Farmall A that I only got half the movement, the top end of my throttle, so if I go past halfway down it'll die. It won't have enough throttle. So I'm making this video for anybody else that has a problem and needs to fix that. So what I got is I got a new spring and a new washer for that. And this spring's way tighter than the old spring, so I'm thinking that I'll take the play out of it so it goes to idle without just completely flopping. And if this doesn't work, it's probably going to need a governor rebuild. And I can do a tutorial on that if I need to rebuild the governor. But so, right now, when I pull back the throttle past halfway on the throttle lever, if I go past here on the lever, it will not run. It'll shut off. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna put the spring and washer on right here, a new one, right here on the governor. So I'll put that on, and I'll put the washer over it, which I just got the wrong size washer, of course. So I'm gonna have to go back and get a smaller size washer. Then we'll put the cotter pin in and hopefully it'll run. And if not, then I'll add a bigger spacer, a bigger washer, a thicker one to tighten up even more slack. And I think it needs a new, rebuilt because the governor arm wiggles a ton, but I think maybe that wiggling will go away if I get it tight. So hopefully that's true. And I need to grab a washer that will not slip over my spring. And hopefully this fixes it, because it had a very weak little wimpy spring on it. And I bought this Farmall A last Saturday for $600. The motor was seized, so I just took an air hammer with a wood block on top of the piston with an air hammer and tapped on it really hard. Not hurting the piston, but just getting it to nudge and break the rust off the rings. And only one cylinder was stuck. And I just pulled it down the road behind my John Deere 4110 and got her going. So I got this thing. I'll have to set you right here. Hopefully you can see. Alright, so I'm going to take my cotter pin, get it ready. Put the tighter spring and use the washer to push. I forgot to punch the little bit of cotter pin that's left in this out. Okay, I got the cotter pin free. Let me push this back on there. Slide my cotter pin in, hopefully I can get it. Alright, it's not going to stay permanent, it's just going to be a test. Let's see if it'll fire up lower in the... Maybe I have to throttle it up a little bit, see how much farther I can get out. Well, that might not fix it, guys. Still can't go past half throttle. I think to fix this I'll have to change out a second spring here, so take that counter pin out, spring and washer off. I think we're going to need to change the second spring that's on this assembly also. So I can pull this off. Come on. Pull it out. Take this spring off. This spring looks weak too. This is the one that goes before the spring I just did. I could grab a firmer spring out of my assortment of springs here. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit shorter, but it's much firmer. Much, much, much firmer. And I can throw another spacer on it as a nut here. Use this nut as a spacer to make up the length I'm losing. Throw this on and grab my new spring and washer. Other piece of it. Try to get this finagled out of there. That's not going to work. I'm going to need a different spring now, I believe. A little bit shorter one, hopefully. I can get one that works. Here's a shorter, less springy spring. Will it work? Who knows? Oh, we dropped it. Where'd it go? Well, crap, I lost the spray. I got another one at least. Right here. My little spring assortment kit. If you guys have the same problem, this ends up working. You could just get a spring assortment kit at Rule King and it should have the springs you need for your fix. Got my cotter pinned off. Cotter pinned up. Got it all messed up. Here we go. Got it fixed. Okay. Let's see if that is my fix. Maybe. Maybe not. Who knows? Put it to where it normally will start for me. Huh. Maybe it's not a fix. Now it doesn't want to start at all. It's great, guys. Well, that messed up my whole. Now it has barely any play in the throttle. I've reversed it. I need a bigger spring. So maybe this spring shouldn't be the thickest one I could get. Maybe it should be a little bit smaller. Or I just take the nut off and then run two of the same spring on there. Now we'll try. Take the nut off. That. Put it to full idle. Try to. Wait a minute. I think I know the problem. The spring of the idle is the problem, I believe. So I believe in the first place, the spring that went on front that controlled like the push of the high throttle was not the problem. I believe it was this one. So let's try a different spring. Maybe that'll give me less resistance when the tractor's trying to get idle. It's definitely going to need a nut spacer though, because it's such a thin little spring. So maybe if I throw this on there, will I get something out of it? We'll throw the second nut on there. Throw this on there. Then I could throw this to all three idle just to make it easier on me. So I think that might work much better. You know what, I'm going to take one nut off just to play it safe. Because that spring looked like it was putting up a good fight on the little rod. So now, I think the governor can push against the spring better. So I believe that the spring that was on it was a little bit too much for the governor to push back on. Maybe the governor needs rebuilt. I don't know. Alright, let's see if it'll run different now. Put it to where it normally fights. Just about. Now, I think the last thing I'll have to do, is just take the whole spacer out for this to begin with. So I think I fixed it. It has much better response to going to idle. Like, it's not trying to fight me. It's not trying to, mess much. Oh no, I just dropped the spring into the face. I think I've got a spare one. Put that on. Do this on. Okay. Okay. So hopefully that completely fixes the problem. I guess that fixes it, guys. So if you have a tractor that's not wanting to go to full idle, maybe you should replace this spring with a squishier, less strength and up spring. So that'll be all. Thank you for watching.